Om Namah Shivaya. Welcome to Dots of Destiny, friends. Recent past, I have been speaking to some of my clients, and they had been going through, I don't know why it's happening suddenly, that many people I came across, are going through the dasha of the eighth lord or some planets placed in the eighth house. Eighth house is a very mystical house, and it is very difficult to decode, at least for me, that how the house actually works. Why I'm saying this is that, yes, there are a lot of problems with that house. It is a dusthana, but the eighth lord sometimes gives very brilliant results also. Now, how that brilliance is achieved, that I try to understand a bit. Now, see, eighth house, as we know, is the house of some kind of a misfortune, we call. We feel very stuck, or we feel very confused, or loss of, loss of the path of life, or the pace in which we lead a life, because eighth lord dasha or planets placed in the eighth house, they sudden events, they creep up in our life. It puts some challenges before us, and that is why we sometimes we feel very directionless as to how long and for how many years we'll be able to cope up with such challenges. Because obviously, if there is a planet like Saturn in the eighth house and you're running a Saturn Mahadasha, the challenges will be quite a lot. You may be confined to your a certain area, and you may not, I mean, it will happen that any Mahadasha of the planet sitting in the eighth house will make you feel quite secluded from all the people around you, and the events that will happen in your life will generate such results that you will not feel that much enthusiastic or in that frame of mind to go and marry around your social circle. Now, in today's world, this is a big crime, that because of my dasha, I am not able to, mix well with the people around me. Yeah, then that becomes a problem. See, eighth house is a slowly taking away certain things from you. That is the eighth house. It is like, it is a sign of Scorpio. And Scorpio is a very difficult sign to understand, which I have always seen. The depth of Scorpio is very, very difficult to fathom. Once is that because it is co-ruled by Ketu also. Any sign which is placed in your eighth house, because it is not always the Aries Lagna, right? If you're an Aries Lagna, it will be the Scorpio. But any Lagna you are, the eighth house will have the flavor of Scorpio. And wherever Scorpio is in your horoscope will have some flavor of the eighth house. It is like that. So, what happens is that eighth house tries to change the things as it was before. Suppose your Lagna Lord goes into the eighth house, or the eighth Lord goes into the first house. This is a classic case of how you as a person will change very much in this dasha. So here I'll discuss that, how the eighth lord behaves in all the 12 houses. But before that, let us see how the eighth house, what is it? It is about decay. First and foremost is that Scorpio is such a sign that any planet goes into it, or any planet rather goes into the eighth house of any Lagna, will first go through a process of decay, and it will slowly die down. The significance of that planet will die down. and then a new thing will come up from there. Now, whether you are able to adjust with that new thing or not, that is what we have to understand. Because if we can give up the old thing and if we can go with the new thing, then it really gives very good results. It does. Eighth house is called a dusthana, but still it is a wealthy house also. It creates a lot of inheritances. It is your partner's wealth. It is the taxes that you give, the insurance things that you get. It is your hidden wealth, because Scorpio is all about, the trading, mutual fund, the SIPs that we do in the market, all these things. So this is because it is hidden, right? We do not say this. Everybody knows that everyone will have a bank account and some savings things and all this. That is the second house. But eighth house matters how much wealth you have. What is the capacity of wealth that you have generated without the normal things that we see today. It is normal having a SIP, mutual fund and all this, but always it was not like that. So that is difficult to fathom. That is the hidden wealth of Scorpio. So this Taurus Scorpio axis is like that, because Jupiter has come into Taurus now. It is interesting how our the Taurus is all the known wealth, the customary wealth that we have as our savings and our income and all these things. And eighth house is all the hidden wealth that we have done. How much insurance you do, nobody knows. How many schemes you want to go for mutual fund and SIP and all, nobody knows, because this is not usually disclosed. So that is the wealth house also. Scorpio as a sign is very mystical sign. Now, any planet going into Scorpio or your eighth house, whatever sign governs your eighth house, will have a research oriented mode. So I have always seen person with a Scorpio Lagna, or many planets going into Scorpio, or many planets going into the eighth house, will have a very changeable life. They will always say that this is how I had begun and this is what now I have become. And it is such a huge change. Even they didn't believe when they started that this change will ultimately culminate into such a, that process. And sometimes the process is a death process, but it gives brilliant results after that death. You have gone through that death. That is seen very much in most of the cases, very much. Yes, in the process, what we lose is that why we feel empty within is that the pride is lost, because ultimately that ego is what the human essence is all about. We feel ego about everything, our achievements, our money, everything good we do, we have done. Everything bad that has happened to us, God has done. So this is always there. It's a very nobody wants to understand. Very few people, 5% of people understand, yeah, this is whatever is happening to me is my karma. That concept is yet not accepted by the ego. So here what eighth house does whenever dasha comes, because dasha is very important, or even the antar dashas, 2.5 years or maybe 1.5 year, when you go through, you understand it's not very normal time that you're going through, because at that point of time the antar dasha takes over. So here what happens is that you are forced to give up your ego. The good things come later. Obviously it comes, but later. First you're forced to give up your ego, and that is what gives a deep rooted pain. It leads you to seclusion. It leads you to bow down to whom? To yourself. That whatever I had been thinking about myself is actually was a bhram. It was a myth. It is not the truth. It happened, if something great has happened before the 8th house dasha, it was the dasha also. It was just not you putting the effort, it was the brilliance of that dasha which has brought you that big result or big achievements or whatever. So 8th house is a sannyas kind of a place where it puts you into seclusion so that you run down the ego, you decay your old self and come up with a new self, one once that is done, then the good things start coming and following. Then because you have accepted the things, many things have been accepted. Like if Mercury goes into the 8th house, though Mercury, every text has written Mercury is a very good, I mean, it's such a flexible planet. In the 8th house also, it does not give bad results. All the mostly all the classical text will say that. But Mercury is your friends, neighborhood, your uncles, aunts, all these things. Now here you will see a change will happen in that. Things will go away related to that. Things will just, the kind of friends you had been dealing with will all go decay in the process. Suppose it's your 11th lord, your groups that you had been building up for so long, it is the 11th lord for Scorpio, for Leo, so that will vanish, that will slowly vanish, or it will not go in tandem with your expectations, and you will dissolve it by yourself. And then the money part will come, because Mercury is also trade, Mercury is also business. Then that will happen, because now you want to because your something will happen within you that the 8th house dasha will do, that you will change, or that, yeah, obviously that pain will be there, that kind of emptiness will be there, because these are long things that has come into habit with us for a long period of time. And then when it goes, we feel very empty, but that emptiness is required to take better things to take that place where it is being emptied. So Mercury behaves in that way. Venus, Venus, if it is an 8th house, especially for relationship, there is some issue with the relationship for maybe many generations, maybe many lifetimes, and you have to resolve the issue. Here your partner or the relationships that you come across, whether it's a stamped relationship, whether it's just a extra or some kind of outside relationship, it will change you. It has come here to change you, that is guaranteed. That is a done deal. You will learn and you will decay through your relationships, your love relationships mainly, because Venus denotes that, either the marriage or the love relationship, whatever. Suppose Sun has gone over here. See, Sun is such a bright planet. I find it works good in 8th house, but it gives very uncanny fame, because see, Sun is the luck and the fame, the 5th house lord originally. When it comes to the 8th house, it loses much of its significance. It does that. But what it gives is that you can see any diseases, chronic, because 8th house is also chronic diseases. So if any diseases are about to, come into your existence, in your system, in your body system, you'll be able to recognize it fast. You'll be able to catch forgery or any, corrupt practices that is happening with your others fast. You'll be able to detect the aura of any person very fast. But name fame comes, or it comes very late, and or very uncanny name and fame you can get. Luck will be marred for many things in your life. These things will happen when Sun is in the 8th house, or you're running a dasha of Sun which is situated in the 8th house, or the relationship with the father goes for a toss. Till then, it will definitely happen whether you run a dasha or not. If you have a Sun, you'll be research oriented. You will love to go into research work, maybe something like astrology also. But relationship with the father will very much change, because understand, always it is like that. Whenever the Sun, any karaka tattva of that planet will go for a change, it will happen. That is the process of Scorpio, and Ketu being the co-ruler, because that is how Ketu brings the Vairagya in us. If Moon is there, Moon is the teacher, it is the childhood that we, and also it is the mother. The health of the mother can be a very big problem. You can have some chronic disease from the childhood. Your mental well-being is a question. All the time your mental well-being is a question, because how you're dealing with your emotional body. Moon, your physical body is Mars, that is the 1st house. Moon is your emotional body. So when it is in the 8th house, you just do not understand understand why everything hits you so bad. The very difficult to deal with these things. Yeah, it can, it can generate wealth in that area because it aspects your second house also. These things can be there, but you have to have very good care of your mental health. For that, meditation, some kind of mantra chanting, some kind of these healing activities needs to be done. When Mars is there in the 8th house, Mars is a very fiery planet and usually quite accident prone in the 8th house. From the moon, it's a big Mangalic position also. So Mars in the 8th house will, only thing is that, yeah, it will bounce you with a lot of energy, because 8th house is also a very energetic house. You will see many people having a lot of planets in the 8th house, or especially planets like Sun, Mars will have bubbling with energy. They're always very energetic and they want to do something with their energy. That is very prominent in their feature. They'll never be dull. That is not found with a Rahu, Mars, Sun, these kind of planets, Jupiter also in the 8th house. It is quite energetic house, but it is accident prone also because it is sudden events. So suddenness is the nature of the 8th house. So these things will happen with Mars. Yeah, if you want to do some underground research, Marsian things, then it can be good, like maintaining your body, sports practices, all these things. Or you can see Mars is also a very materialistic planet, working with money and all these things. Jupiter gives a very, Jupiter is that it makes you understand lot of things. And if a dasha of Jupiter in the 8th house starts, you be well prepared that this 8th house is going for an expansion, because Jupiter is sitting over there. Now there are a lot of things that will intrigue you. If the sign is good, like Sagittarius, Pisces or Cancer, all these, then you will go for a very high level of research mode. Subject can be anything, but you will crave for knowledge. You will crave for seclusion and knowledge, because that will be the mode of that phase, and you will not be interested in the things happening around you much, because Jupiter here will be aspecting all the moksha trikon. 8th house is also one of the moksha trikon. So Jupiter here will be aspecting the 4th house, the 12th house, second, of course. So here you will be in that kind of a mode that you want to learn more about Jiva, life. What is the whole knowledge that this universe has? It can give you obesity, it can give you some problems with your health, that is also there, but a big transformation will happen in your heart of hearts, and you will understand that slowly you are changing as a person. If it is Ketu is very destructive in the 8th house, and there is very sudden changes which are very difficult to deal with, and that Ketu takes away, is it totally cuts you off from certain things, totally cuts you off, so that you can focus on the better things of your life. Maybe that was not needed. That is how Ketu works, right? Because Ketu always, wherever it is situated, if that dasha comes, it says, no more over here, you have done it many lifetimes, so now go to the better things that you want to do. So that is how Ketu works. It is drastic, it is difficult, but a new you is born after the first half of Ketu dasha. When you complete it, from the middle you understand the process, and you let loose yourself and you surrender, and then you give up the things. Whatever Ketu wants, you are just okay giving it up. This process, as you go in, it becomes slightly easier, but still meditativeness is very important with malefics in the 8th, because it's quite difficult with malefics in the 8th, especially Ketu, Mars, Saturn, Rahu, these planets. Rahu and Saturn, very ambitious planet in the 8th house. Difficult to gauge the ambition. Rahu in Scorpio or Rahu in 8th house has typically nearly the same kind of energy. Now, the energy can be bad also if Rahu is afflicted, or wherever it is situated, that Lord is under affliction. The person can be a trickster and all these things. They can create, lot of crimes also. These things happen with Rahu. But what I am trying to say over here is you will very often find that people with high ambition have this axis of 2nd Ketu and 8th Rahu. because they cut themselves, because second Ketu is very cutting from the family environment. That's not a very normal family environment from the childhood. And so Rahu being in the 8th house, they are quite mystical about the, because Rahu dwells deep into the 8th house. It is all in the mind, and they become so ambitious that 8th house matters intrigues them. And maybe the profession or whatever they want to follow, that is maybe not related to the 8th house, maybe, but they get some kind of over ambitious nature that I have seen with Rahu in Scorpio and Rahu in the 8th. They are full of ideas, because Rahu is that brain, full of ideas, and they can, they can delve into monetary things very much, because 8th house, as I said, is hidden money. They have the very much the capability of, doing this monetary transactions, dealing with a lot of money, which are hidden money, maybe dealing with others' finances and making a lump sum fortune out of that. Lot of things, especially Rahu in Mercury and Venus signs, they do these things. That kind of job suits, or if it's not a job also, that can be a part-time activity also for that person. Saturn also very ambitious in the it give again, Saturn also here gives long-term diseases, can give slow poisoning diseases, which at first you may not be able to understand, because Saturn works very slowly. It's a very slow planet, but slowly it can give that kind of diseases to a person. That happens, but it inside the person becomes very ambitious. It aspects the 10th house, it aspects the 2nd house, money, profession, and also the 5th house. So all these name, fame, profession, all these things, they are constantly, and Saturn is because it's such a slow moving planet. If you have a Saturn sitting in, your longevity is also mostly increased, very much increased, and you just go into the deep, slowly understanding of matters, that, but it puts you into seclusion. It does that. The first thing about Saturn mainly is that is a lot of seclusion in the, especially in the 8th and the 12th house, and that long Saturn Mahadasha can give you a lot of wealth if it's in a good sign. If it aspects a good sign in the 2nd house, you can build up your finances. Your profession also may go good. All these things can happen. You can get name, fame, because 8th house is also sudden name, fame also. That can also happen, will happen. Saturn. But obviously one thing about 8th house is some kind of seclusion with some misfortune, attached with it, some kind of separation. What you had been leading a life, you have to, give up that life, and a new life and a new structure takes its place. This is the thing, the instability of the 8th house is this is the instability, that we just don't know that next day what will happen. It can be good, again it can be some other surprises also. Sudden, ball is thrown at you and you have to just catch it, and you have to go with it, and you have to deal with the things. That is the 8th house. That is a problem with the 8th house, and that is why meditation becomes a sacred zone for this 8th house, because until and unless your mind is very settled and very calm, and you are not asking and hankering for the worldly things too much, you cannot handle this energy of the 8th house. That is the problem with the 8th house. It has a lot of things to offer, but the way is very different, and the treatment of the planets, or the dasha, antardasha of the planets sitting in the 8th house is very, very different. That's why this is a very different house, and it is never enough to talk about the 8th house. It's never enough. See, the Scorpio sign is also like that. You see the Scorpio, wherever it is situated in your horoscope, you will find there has been some changes. Has been 100%. That is what Scorpio is all about. If it's a Lagna, you yourself will be or have been going through a change. What you were before 30 or before 36, after 36, 40, you're totally a changed person. That is what Scorpio is about. That is how this works. And wherever this Scorpio is sitting, no, some change is bound to happen. Whatever was there from your birth will cease to act at some point of time, and then a new thing will come into that place. This is the decomposition or the decay of the Scorpio house, and how it first it totally puts the things down, totally smashes the things down, and then you rise like a phoenix. That is Scorpio. Very difficult process, but that is how Scorpio works. In the second house, with the family, with the money, something can be like that. In the third house, neighborhood, sibling, something. In the fourth house, it is your heart. It is your heart will change, something for good or bad. What you had been, the way you had been thinking, things will change. Fifth house, obviously, it's your progeny and your relationship with your progeny. Sixth house is how you deal with your enemies, your loans and all these things. The handling of this thing changes. Seventh house, your relationships, very difficult. For the Taurus, I've always said that the seventh house Scorpio is very difficult to handle. Eighth house, it is obviously, it is the Aries, the Lagna. And because the Aries will always have jump into something, the eighth house is a transformational house for them. And slowly they understand in this life process, maybe they understand if the dashas are like that, always you cannot take that kind of an action. You have to held back a little bit you have to be composed, and that way slow approach is required. That happens very late, but some kind of a change regarding the eighth house will affect their life. It will happen. If it is your ninth house, your Bhagya, that is very much as of Pisces. Sudden changes, and changes can be sometimes good also. I have seen that many Pisces people, their sudden changes have happened in their life, but they had to go with the changes. It was not easy changes. The results could have been much better, but the changes were not that easy to accept. And they had to give up their ego for that, for the Bhagya to rise, to give up in the hands of Bhagya. 10th house Scorpio, for Aquarius people, obviously you have to have some kind of ego death in your workplace. And then from there, when you have that ego, when you stop thinking I know everything, and you just surrender to the force over there, because your Lagna is Saturn Lagna. It is here. It is a best, one of the very nice Lagna. Actually, best Aquarius is the 11th house. Your desire. You have been given the Lagna, but you have to give up for your name, fame. You have to give up your own, holding on to things, or proving that I am the best, and comparing and having deep, dark secrets and very big ambitions. Some things you have to surrender for the betterment of your 10th house. Then it will give that change. It's a 11th house. For the Capricorn people, some kind of change in the networking people, in the siblings, elder siblings, in the financial things. They will either grow the finance, or the finance will come down. Some incoming gain, some up and down will happen. That will change their life. The 11th house is a very important house. And obviously for the Sagittarius is the 12th house. It is a very, very, whenever the Scorpio is in the, see, these are fiery signs. The Aries, Leo, and Sagittarius, they have the 4th house, the 8th house, and the 12th house Scorpio. Very transformative, very, very transformative. And Scorpio is in the Moksha Trikon. So this is what I wanted to say about the 8th house and the planet sitting over there and the sign of Scorpio. All these three, when taken together, then we come to a conclusion that yes, what we can derive from that. Again, it is a Dusthana. It is house of misfortune, but it will not always, what can I say? Always, it is a house of humiliation also. Yeah, you have to go through certain humiliation, but it will not always generate bad results. It will give you some surprising good results also. But surrender is the norm. Kind of sannyasi existence, meditative things, surrender, not delving deep into matters, understanding the depth of matters is very important when you are running a dasha of the 8th house or 8th lord, a planet sitting on Scorpio, whatever. So let's see how this 8th lord behaves in all the 12 houses. When the 8th lord is in the first house, it is it is a little bit difficult position in the sense that wherever the eighth lord goes, obviously it creates some kind of miracles also over there, if at all I can call it a miracle. But it will create some extreme positions in life that will happen, and one has to encounter that. Eighth lord looking into the seventh house will create lot of disruptions in the married life. That will also happen. Next is some kind of people trying to defame or point fingers at that person. That usually is the case. Usually suddenness of events which can hamper your your, it can create a lot of personality issues. Sudden events that can be some events can be good also, which may give you fame also, but after sometimes you will feel that is not, you're not intrigued by it anymore. Then you resort to, because the eighth lord has that kind of a characteristics, into a mystical journey, or you'll be very much drawn towards some kind of higher calling, if the chart is like that. I mean, higher calling in the sense you want to demystify your life. What is this life about? Why you're feeling certain things that normally people don't feel. So it is a challenging position. Now, obviously for Libra ascendants and for Aries ascendants, those are eighth lord is Venus only. Now, Venus on the Lagna and Mars on the Lagna will not create the same effect. That is there. That is there. But if it is a benefic also, suppose for Sagittarius, Jupiter, Moon is the 8th house, and Moon if placed on the Lagna, some kind of still mental issues, some kind of issues related to 8th house, some kind of health issues, something will come up in your life. Though Moon is a benefic planet and it is quite benefic, very benefic with Jupiter, but still it will happen. If 8th lord is in the 2nd house, the 2nd house qualities are very much disturbed, like the early childhood, the early education break can happen. At the time of early age or education, the child or the mind or the the aura of the home can be quite disturbed, and sudden events at the family can also happen. The eating habits can be quite different. Same effect will happen if Scorpio is there in the 2nd house or Ketu is there in the 2nd house. Same kind of effect. Very, very different kind. It's not the regular eating habit. Very different from the normal people. These things will happen in the 2nd house. Some kind of events which will remain in your memory, and it is not very pleasant in your childhood days or in your growing up days, but that thing will change. It will be as a scar maybe, but it will change you in some ways and make you more matured later. That is in the later half of life. But this 8th house aspecting 8th lord in the 2nd aspecting its own house will improve the longevity. That will happen. It will be favorable in inheritance, taxes, insurance, partners' wealth. All these things can be good. So there'll be mostly it is not a good placement, but yeah, some things will you will also get from this arrangement. When 8th goes into the 3rd, 8 to 8, it is a long-lived actually arrangement. If it is a benefic planet, it is better in the 3rd house. Though Jupiter, Venus, Mercury, Jupiter I don't find working very good in the 3rd house, but still as far as the creativity is concerned, it is not bad. These people will be communicative, and whenever they speak, their speaking will have some kind of an effect of the 8th house, communication. And also they will have some they will have a vibrancy, because 3rd house is a very active house and 8th house is a dormant house, but the energy stored up over there. It is that is how the Scorpio is. You'll see a Scorpio, you'll not easily I mean, the Scorpio nature is that outside they feel very calm, but inside some turbulence is there. That energy needs to be burst out. That the 3rd house lets them do. So they can use it for creative purpose, for communication purpose, for advertisement, for a lot of journeys. And they love to go to seclusion places, and these things are there. So it is not a very bad arrangement. It's okay, it gives a long life also. Eighth lord when goes into the fourth house, this is not a very good arrangement at all, because again, the some problem with the mother, some problem of the heart, of the peace of the heart, of the house where you stay. There'll be certain events or certain sudden events. The property can be taken away also in the worst case. They may be, staying with a very such people who has eighth lord in the fourth can have gone through bad property, cases. These things can happen. The childhood, because the education is also linked to the fourth house. There can be breaks in education due to monetary factors, maybe quarrels within the family, maybe other problems. Some kind of problem will be there that will trigger these events actually, and some kind of pain or some kind of feeling of distrust, misunderstood, all these things can be left within. And because the eighth lord is in the fourth and aspecting the 10th house, the problems that is within will be carried on to the 10th house also. That also can be a problem, because see, what we are internally, we show outside also. It is how much we think that is the outside world that triggers us, but actually whatever is within is shown outside. So if there's some disturbance or some unhealed factors inside a person with the eighth lord in the fourth house, then that also may show out in the work area. In the sense, there can be sudden quitting of jobs, sudden mood swings, sudden burst of anger, sudden upheaval of emotions. These things can happen. Not a very good arrangement. Eighth lord in the fifth house. These people, they want to do, they love name and fame, because eighth house is also that ambition within them, and fifth house is name and fame, progeny. Their progeny can be quite secretive, can be different, can be mystical, can be intuitive. They have a high sense of intuition also. They can chant mantra also. They are research oriented people. They love to do some old kind of studies, some research subject. Astrology is also one of them, which is a little, offbeat. These people, they love to do that. Some problems with the luck factor or the progeny will be there, because definitely some harm will be done by the, harm in the sense, as I said, some decay will happen. Then that phoenix will rise from the ashes. That will happen. But they also do share trading. This I've seen that, because eighth house is that, as I told you in the first part of my video, that this is also the trading or the money that is involved with mutual funds, SIP. These people, fifth house is also this share market thing and all, taking risk taking and all. This is done by these people. Now, whether they get success or not, that's a different story. But they will be inclined to do it. Eighth lord in the sixth house, okay, they will first they will come across certain some things will happen with them which is not very good, and they will learn, and then they will fight back, and they will do it. They will then they will be able to take head on with those things, because that kind of arrangement. But both are dusthanas, eighth lord being in the sixth. Some ailments are seen from this kind of an arrangement. If other mitigating factors are not there, the life can be medium, that kind. I don't think too long life may not be there. But if other factors are there, obviously we are not gods. It is in his hand to give whatever life we have. That is, we cannot say. Things can happen. That's why astrology is a very interesting subject. There are so many permutation combinations. But they take head on with their enemies and with their early experiences, going down with their experiences. Then they come back very stronger, charged, and then they can take on their loans, enemies, debts, anything, because they have gone through all those problems. If that dasha of the eighth lord has come, then they have gone through so much that they will be able to come back, and they will be able to fight it very well, actually, within that sixth house arrangement. Seventh house, eighth lord in the seventh, is obviously some turbulence in the married life is seen, because that person, after some time, can lose interest, can have other people outside the marriage. Now, don't go by immediately, don't don't think wrong things about it, but yes, we all know, in any classical text also it is seen, eighth lord plays a major role in the breaking of a marriage. Ketu, eighth lord, Mars is also, that's why I see the Scorpio sign and the eighth house is so much in tandem with each other. So Mars, that's why that Manglik concept comes. Then the Ketu is also, it's Vairagya. It doesn't want to. That is the thing. The eighth lord also creates certain that kind of a situation also. Some problem with sexual organs can also be there if the eighth lord is in the seventh house. These things happen. These are normal with the eighth lord. See, the eighth lord behaves in a very peculiar way, because as I told you that maybe in the seventh house, or if Ketu is also there in the seventh house, why it is there is that it does not want you to involve yourself in this lifetime with relationships. It will give you that kind of a feeling that you are not satisfied. Whoever you come across, mentally, physically, you don't get to that level and stay in that level for a long time. Now, why it is like that? Many people ask me why it is there with me like that. Maybe this is, see, marriage has been made such a big topic always in the society that you have to get married and you have to lead a long married life. It cannot happen with everybody. That needs to be understood. Maybe this lifetime the focus is different. That's why the marriage will dissolve or the dissatisfaction will come, so that your energy do not go over there and you build up something different in this lifetime. This is my explanation. This is what I have understood from astrology. So if eighth lord is in the eighth house, it is a great position for research. It is a great position for understanding the bigger virtues of this universe, which rarely people want to delve into. They just want to live the superficial life, whatever is going on, eat, drink, merrymaking, have friends, post photos on the Facebook, and this is what is going on every day. They have to show that we have this. Now the thing is that people, when you have the eighth lord in the eighth house, you will not be allowed to do that. Some events will make you think about the deeper aspects of life, and you'll go into the research mode. And that is good, actually. Learning about the depth and the involvement of life at different levels. Life is not just this shallow. It is very, very deep. That is a good arrangement, I find. Especially a planet like Saturn, if it's there, its longevity is there, it gives you wealth also. It can, if you are not, but yeah, obviously some kind of slow chronic disease sets in with big planets like Saturn, Jupiter. These also, they give. Even Mercury also gives some kind of chronic issues with the skin, maybe with the Mercury and things like nerves or something. These things happen with every planet going into the eighth house. But still, I feel it's a good arrangement to learn the depth of life, to go into the layers of our existence. Ninth, when eighth lord is in the ninth house, it's not a very good arrangement, because these peoples is that they don't, first and foremost, they don't want to believe the dharma of life. Now, once they believe, it is, suppose after different situations they believe it, they now don't come across a person easily, or grab onto a text or something which will give them or take them to that knowledge. That is also very difficult to find in such kind of, because it is a disruptive lord. Eighth lord causes some kind of disruption. And see, this is such a nice house of dharma and higher thinking and philosophy. Now, long distance journey can be disrupted, pilgrimages can be disrupted, relationship with the father can get disrupted, father's health may not be good, the emotional attachment with the father may not be there. A lot of things can happen with the eighth lord. It's not a good arrangement in that way, because the fortune, the bhagya, is somewhere going into a deep dark this thing, and some disruptions will happen in the bhagya which is not wanted, but obviously our past life merits, demerits, bring these things into our life, we must understand that and go along with it. So then comes the eighth lord in the 10th house. Here change of profession is very much seen, because see, either you go into some profession which is like astrology, like healing, like something which is a little uncanny about the eighth house matters. Even doctors also seen sometimes with the eighth lord in the 10th house. They are doing some research oriented things, coming up with the things for the society, because see, eighth lord when goes in the 10th house, you have to spend a lot of time on your own and understand what I have to give to the 10th house, because eighth house is a shallow, it is not the, you know, very bright house. It's a very dark house. You have to sit and do something on your own, and then you come up with the project. So that's why what I've seen is that when eighth lord is in the 10, people don't understand actually what suits me. That's why change of profession very well happens with this kind of arrangement. Maybe just I'm giving an example, somebody became a teacher or a banker, then they realized, oh, this is not at all the thing suited for me. Then they become something else, some healer, some astrologer, some mystic things, something which is very a little otherworldly kind. These are the examples. Or even oil can also become, because 8th house is also oil, mining, all these things can also happen with this arrangement. 11th, 8th lord in the 11th, this is also good only. It gives a long life. Yeah, your friend circle will change. Obviously it will change. It'll somehow, some things will decay away and fade away. It will happen with your growth, and some people will move away and a new group will be formed, because 8th house is that instability. It will not let you settle with a group. That is very difficult unless other factors are there. Unless other factors, very solid factors are there with the 8th lord. Maybe an exalted Jupiter is there or something like that. Then it's different. So here that way it changes, but you gain from your partner's wealth, inheritances, your insurance pays you well. You do money from these mutual funds and SIPs and share marketing and these things, because this is the norm of the day. Why I'm talking about this is that this is very much what I'm seeing. Many of my the people that I come across, they always ask about these things, because yeah, this is a money making way nowadays very much, which was not prevalent even even 15 years before also. It was not very not very popular. Now it has become like that. So this is a good arrangement, unless some kind of change in your group will happen, and you have to accept that is gone and done for over. You cannot bring it back. If you bring it back also, that kind of an essence will not remain. Now 8th lord in the 12th house, there are two kind of things: either very bad condition with money laundering, criminals, hidden activities. These things is one kind of a thing. Second is that it's a very high spiritual arrangement, which I have seen in many cases. And these people, even these kind of people I've seen, they have a lot of money also at times, and still they are not interested in that, as if they have seen the world with their two eyes and they have given up on it, and they know that money is just that was required, it happened, and they have let it go, and now they are concentrated more on the meditative state of existence, and they are leading a life which is very near to being a monk, the spiritual aspect is very high. They try to understand the depth of life, where it is taking them, why things have happened. And these people have such kind, when 8th lord is in the 12th, certain things will also happen to them which will make them realize. That will also there. Unless events happen, we don't delve into matters in that way, right? Events will also happen that will bring them into such a state, and they become quite spiritually aware of their surroundings. The spirituality dawns in them. So this happens. This is very much, in that way, all of us has to go to that phase of spirituality, whether in this lifetime or any other lifetimes. If we keep on delaying it, how long? It will happen one day or the other. The faster the realization dawns in, I feel from my point of view, it is better. This is just a glimpse of how the eighth lord behaves. It is a very basic way, but there is very depth of the eighth lord, and so many things can happen. Lot of big peoples have, big peoples in the sense, a lot of people who have done a lot of things for our society have very prominent eighth house. Their vitality is so high. So they live in seclusion. They did a lot of things, what they had to do. They had a higher calling. So eighth house has a lot of things to offer. But yes, it is no doubt that in general, we always fear about the things that comes out from the eighth house, because it's very sudden and we are not prepared for it. That is very much there. Yeah, so this was the topic for today. For next week's video, some other topics. So till then, friends, have a good time. Take care.